Let's rethink Drive. All right, so why Drive, you ask? So the next step in our organizational journey here is our digital files. And since we use Google Drive here, that's what we're gonna focus on. So we're gonna rethink our Drive. It's been a few years since we've rolled out Google, so we wanna rethink our setup. We wanna reorganize our folders, our file structure, the colors, all of those things. And then we need to dive in and declutter. So put things into these folders that we've made, or we reset up the way we rethought our Drive, and declutter and archive or trash things that we own that we don't share with other people and that we can get rid of. Let's rethink Google Drive.
The first step to rethinking our Google Drive is to get our files into Google Drive, right? So sometimes we have digital files in many places. Sometimes we've used Evernote in the past. We may have used Microsoft OneNote in the past. We may have some files still on the online Office suite. However, if we're gonna rethink and organize and save time, we need all of our digital files in one place. And so the best is Google Drive. There may be some other features. I love certain features of Evernote and OneNote and Keep, but everything is just easier if it's in one place. And so Google Drive is a good place to settle to store all of your different types of documents. So let's talk about division level files. So there are some files in our Google Drive that are pushed out at the division level. So if you notice this green folder I have here, HCPS District Essentials, that is our division level Google Drive folder. That should be in everyone's drive, and everyone should have access to that. If there is a document in this folder, I do not want you to copy it or move it into other places just to make it easier to find or just to fit your organizational structure. It's easier to organize and find things if we use the organizational structures that are there. So our county has decided to have this District Essentials. So if there's a file in HCPS District Essentials, just leave it there and know that you can find it there. Guess what? We have a school level folder as well. Here's a school level folder. Actually, there's two of them here that we have that hold all of our school level items. For example, we may have a do not photograph, or clubs, or field trips, or flex lessons. There are a lot of items that may be in our school level folders that are pushed out by the school level documents. We don't need to make copies or add shortcuts or put them in our organizational structure, because we know that if it's a district level item, we can find it there. If it's a school level item, we can find it here. And we can also use the magic of search up here at the top, and we're able to find any of our files that we need to find. Let's talk about shared content files, or shared team files, or shared grade level files. So you have a group of people who you share content with and share resources with, or collaborate on projects together. You want to set up a shared folder structure before you start sharing the individual documents. And the reason this is the case is because you're going to go into these folders a lot. For example, this Schoology main. I can tell it's shared because it has the little person icon versus this one that does not. And everything inside of this is shared with the team. And so we can set up an organizational structure within this folder. We can have documents in this folder if we want. So that Schoology main was one example of that. You may have fourth grade team, or science department, or World History 2 teachers, or something like that. And then all of your collaborative documents can be housed in that folder. Now, that being said, at some point, if there's some assignment that you want to associate with your kids, or you want to post to Schoology, or you need to be the owner of, you may have to make copies of that at that point. However, creating those documents and working those documents out, or having best practices or SOLs or pacing guides and things like that, those would be housed in kind of a collaborative folder structure. So you see how we're kind of working down? We have our district essentials, we have our school essentials, and then we have our team folders that we're housing common documents and files in one area. So we made it. Now it's time for your individual files. So you probably have a system you started already, and now's your chance to rethink that system. Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? We can now start to create new folders if you need to, based on how you want to organize. So is it by your classes? How do you want to start naming your folders? You may need to tweak some of the names. Maybe you put the school acronym ahead of it. Maybe you don't. If you're in elementary, you may want to do it by subjects, right? Like reading, writing, math. And then in that, you can do your units. And then in that, you can do your lessons, however you see fit. The only extra folders you may need to have is if you do extracurricular activities, or maybe like a book study, or you may have like an extra Schoology folder. You need to keep all those extra folders, but this is your chance to really dive in and organize. So now you need to take a moment to figure out how you want to start to organize and structure your personal Google Drive files. So let's talk about another option to organize. So if you can see my drive, I have my ITRT Team Essentials, some School Essentials, and District Essentials. And I'm just going with the naming convention that the district started with. Then I have all my folders, which is a lot of things. So to some people that's overwhelming and they need to be able to drill down quicker. So here's another option that you may want to consider. So here we have a cleaned up version of my drive. I wanted to leave my essential folders here, and then my archive, and then we're just gonna ignore that these other files exist because I need to file them still. But now at least I know if I'm looking for some ITRT team material, some Atlee Chick, district, or is it things I've created that I need to look at? These are kind of my big item folders. Same thing over here. If I look over here now, this is much more manageable than the previous version when I just had all my folders. Now, if I click on my essentials in either place, you still have all my folders, but it's a way to clean this initial look up to reduce your stress and to make it look cleaner upon entry. Let's chat a little bit about naming conventions. When we name our folders, or better yet, when we name our documents, let's be mindful how we name these. For example, I have no idea what this document is. It does not tell me anything. So let's be very descriptive in what our naming convention is. So you may have Unit 1 Lesson 3 activity, then you may have Unit 1 Lesson 3 notes, then you may have Unit 1 Lesson 3 student notes or students. However you want to do it. But remember, the powerful thing about Google Drive is its search capability up here. And if we have very specific naming conventions, we're able to go up here and search just as fast as we're able to navigate our folder structure. So I feel like the folder structure is important and we need to figure out where to find things, but just as important is the naming convention. So let's be descriptive and thoughtful in our naming conventions. Let's add color. As you can see in my Google Drive here, I have some color use here, depending. I definitely need to declutter and go clean a lot of this up. But you know, I see some yellow, blue, green, gray, orange, maybe a lighter green. Colors can be a very effective way to quickly find things. If you have too many, it can be overwhelming. But if you have a few core colors, as we talked about with our Google Calendar Rethink, colors can be a very quick way to be like, oh, blue, that's my Atlee stuff, right? Or red, Google. Be mindful of your color use, but make it impactful and effective. How do we change a color? We just right-click on the folder, select change color, and then we have these pre-selected colors for us. So we should be able to have school colors or content folders or colors that stand out more or colors that blend in more. Be mindful of how you use colors, but have fun with it. The next feature is going to help us organize in a little bit different way. Google has a trash that's part of its drive, and after 30 days or so, it empties the trash. And this is a way to delete items. However, because with Google we share so much, that's okay in small circumstances. And if you're not sure, we prefer you not to trash items. But I'm telling you that we need to organize our Google Drives. So what's the solution? The solution is to make a folder called zArchive or zArchive. You may have heard it in other trainings as ztrash, which is great. However, for me, because we already have the Google made trash, I like to keep the two separate. So if I know I have a doc that I created that I'm working on, that's just me, that's not shared, I can trash it, no problem. But if I'm not sure, or I shared it and I'm not sure if I'm the owner and I don't want to delete it from other people, I move it to this zArchive folder, the zArchive, because then it's in my drive. I don't mess up anybody else's access to this document because it's still in my drive. Because I put the Z, it's way at the bottom. And this really helps prevent those common documents that are shared amongst many people or that are old but still shared. So they're old for you, but other people may use them, from deleting it from everybody's drive. All you do to create that is to click New Folder, type in the title, and then click Create. And then it's gonna pop right down at the bottom. Okay, let's declutter our drive. So notice on the left-hand side, I open folder tree. So on the right-hand side, I can click a file or click multiple files and just drag them over to the left. This makes it a lot easier to drag and drop for our organization. It's not noted here, but don't forget you can archive and trash items too if you find items that you are no longer using.
Well, there it is, rethinking Google Drive. So hopefully you found some tips and tricks to reorganize and rethink the way you have your Google Drive set up, so it will save you time, save you energy, and reduce your stress.